Hi, thank you for joining me again, and thank you for requesting more videos. I did have a couple of people reach out to me and ask that I make more videos. I took a little bit of time off. I was in a pretty bad, rather dark place. Anyone watching this will definitely relate and understand that. I would prefer to emphasize the positive, emphasize healing, emphasize the good things that are going on in my life rather than the bad, rather than anything negative. I do suppose I could and should share some of that from time to time because it is real. It is what we deal with. A lot of us, day to day, week to week, it doesn't go away. It just doesn't stop. Those invasive thoughts, reminders, um, things you hear, see, smell will take you back immediately to a dark place that you don't want to think about. You don't want to be reminded of once you're out of it. And so I took a little bit of time to regain my thoughts, sort of collect myself, and the scales tipped. I don't know how, I don't know what caused it. And this is exactly how I described it to my therapist. I said, when I went to see her, I said, the scales tipped. All of a sudden, the things that were positive in my life outweighed the negative. And I'm very fortunate to be in that position. I'm very fortunate that that has occurred for me because I know what it's like when the negative is all that's there. I know what it's like when everything is negative and the negatives are overshadowing and outweighing everything. And so you have to understand, you have to know that when you make the choice to leave um, that abusive relationship, when you make the choice to cut off that toxic person, everything will change. Um, I don't know how long it'll take. It's different for everybody, I'm sure. It's taken me a great deal of time. I do have someone in my life that I'm very fortunate to have. We'll call him John. He's wonderful and loving and trusting and trustworthy. And that all hasn't come easy for me. There were a lot of times in the beginning, and I had to see my counselor about this time and time again, and we had the same conversations time and time again. I remember one of the first things that I dealt with was this feeling of someone coming and telling me, okay, get your things together, pack up, time to go back. It was far too good to be true, to be treated well, to be respected, to be loved, to be cared for, someone who listens to you, someone who wants to know how you are. It's completely foreign. It is completely foreign and it is very, very difficult to grasp. It's very difficult to grasp. But as you know, it's not like that when you're with a narcissist. It's not like that when you're dealing with someone who is narcissistic. They don't care. They don't want to know. They don't ask. They don't concern themselves. It's a very lonely place. It's very dark. It's very sad. I can't speak for anyone watching, but I know when I was in that relationship, all I could think to myself was, I'd rather be alone. If I'm going to be alone and I'm going to feel alone and I'm going to deal with things in my life that occur alone, I might as well be alone. And there were many times when I wanted out and I voiced it, and there he went with his lies and his promises, all empty, none of them worth a damn, telling me that everything would change, everything would be better, that he would try more, that he would give me what I deserved, that he would be there for me emotionally. Um, all lies, just lies, flat out lies. And being the person that I am, I always thought, well, he's not lying. He's just trying. He's trying. And I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to accept it. And again, that's part of the abuse. That's part of it. Making you believe the lies, brainwashing you, gaslighting you, um, just keeping you right where they want you all the time, and keeping you in their grasp because they feed on you. That's just how it is. And it's upsetting to hear it. It's upsetting to talk about it. Um, I'm sure some people listening to this might be really emotional listening to it. I still get that way. Reading things, hearing things, it's it's something no one can understand unless they've been there. And you just have to know that you're not alone, that this is what they do. Anybody that's in their grasp is treated the same way. It's textbook. You can open up a book and know what a narcissist is like, know what to expect, know what they're going to say, know how they're going to act, know what they're going to do, what their actions and reactions are going to be, because they're all wired the same. And once you know that, and once you understand that, the key is no contact. When you get out, when you manage to get out, when you manage to finally walk away, and you should, no contact. Any little bit of contact you have with them, they will use it to manipulate you. They will use it to manipulate you, whether they berate you and say awful things to you to make you feel guilty, or they sweet talk you and promise you the moon and the stars, which you know is never going to happen because you've heard it all before. So no contact is it. I I really feel for anyone who's in a position that will not allow that. Um, Young children, you'll have to deal with them. I suggest therapy. I suggest professionals to try to get you and your children through it. Um, I I wasn't in that position. My children are grown, and that's part of the reason I stayed. That's the reason I stayed, was because of my kids. And so I don't know what that's like. I don't know what it would be like. I've thought about it often. It goes through my mind because I'm very fortunate that I never had to be in that position where we were raising children together in a divorce situation with a narcissist, because they're just crazy. There's no two buts about it. So when you see and read and hear no contact, take that very seriously. It's the only way. It is the only way. They don't understand anything else. If you give them an inch, they'll want a mile. If you give them a foot, they'll want 10 feet. So you can't have contact with them. And it's the only way you heal. It's the only way you make them understand you no longer want contact. It's the only way to regain your sanity, your self-esteem, who you are, what you want for yourself. Um, and you start thinking about your future. You start thinking about things that you put off, things that you put aside, things that you sacrificed. Reach out to your friends, reach out to people who you've separated yourself from, because that's what they do. They're masters at it. They isolate you from everybody. Get back in touch with people that you care about, people that care about you, and listen to them and let them be a support for you. And just go. Just go. Don't believe the lies. Don't believe you'll never find anybody. Don't believe you'll be alone. And don't believe, nobody will treat you the way I did. You can only hope that nobody will ever treat you the way a narcissist does. That's what you can pray for and hope for. But don't believe the lies. Just leave. Do not believe the lies. That's all they are. It's just lies. It's more manipulation. It's more brainwashing. It's more control for them. And when you leave and you have no contact, you take their control. You take it away from them completely. That's all they've got. That's all they have, and that's all they want. So take it away from them. Get your life back. Think about what you want. Think about what you want to do. Life is short. Life is way too short to waste it on somebody with no feelings, no emotions, no caring for another human being. There are a lot of people out there that do care, and I would imagine that there's more in your life than you realize because you are being manipulated, and you need to reach out to the ones that do care and lean on them and let them be a source of strength, and leave the person that's hurting you and cut that person off. Um, I'll come back some more with a little more information about toxic parents as well. That's something else that I am experiencing. I didn't realize it because, again, we're in the dark. Um, and that will be my next video. Thanks for joining me.